Thursday, I don't care about you. It's Friday, I'm in love.
After 40 years and 13 albums, The Cure remains one of the biggest bands in the world. They were the first alternative band inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and they're working on new music that may be coming out next year.
Music journalist Simon Price has a new book that chronicles the band's extensive history, Curepedia, an A to Z of The Cure. And Simon joins us live. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
So tell us, how did the band evolve into being so identified with goth? Did Robert Smith start it out that way?
No, they didn't. I think they had a bit of a false start. If you listen to their very first album, it sounds nothing like the kind of typical goth Cure sound. They're very much on the tail end of punk. But they did develop this really kind of doomy, morbid, dark sensibility, which pervades most of their work. Although they also write great pop songs. You just played one of them.
Yeah.
So they're not always so miserable. But I think that kind of mood of sorrow and sadness is never far away with them. And I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah, I think we have some video, and I remember just coming across this randomly just on YouTube one day of Robert Smith pre-makeup. I don't know if we can play that, please. And so I guess to follow up on Robin's question, how do you go from point A to point B? Does something sad happen in their lives that suddenly said, okay, we suddenly have to go goth and wear makeup?
He always said that he thought his facial features were too indistinct. But the first time they started wearing it on stage, he would put red lipstick on his eyes, not his mouth, so that he'd sweat under the lights and it would run down and look really gruesome, like blood, And if you look at any photos of him from the late 80s, his makeup is never perfect, is it? It's always a bit messed up. And I think he's kind of making a statement with that. He's saying, well, I'm a bit messed up. He's sort of expressing on the outside how he feels on the inside.
So in addition to the look, they had such an impact. I mean, the writing, their music is so great. So talk about who they influenced with their sound. What other artists?
Yeah, I think they were a bit unfashionable for a while, but around about the early 2000s, you started seeing The Cure getting name-checked by all sorts of people, from sort of industrial goth acts like Nine Inch Nails to emo bands, particularly people like Fall Out Boy, My Chemical Romance. That generation of bands seem very Cure-influenced. And I think now they are just there. They are set in stone as one of the ultimate influences for any alternative rock band that comes along.
So what were they like? Were they strange, eccentric people? Were they gloomy people? And did the success change that in any way?
They were very strange, but I think in quite a sort of relatably English eccentric sort of way. There were lots of stories in the book about odd things that they got up to. The way I think it works is that they weren't sort of being willfully weird and shutting everyone else out. They're basically there as Robert Smith's an icon, isn't he? Just the way he looks, you don't even have to understand English to understand what the Cure are trying to convey. And anybody who feels they don't fit in or they feel a bit traumatized by life, the Cure are there for you. The Cure are there to take your hand and walk you through it. And that's why I think, just this year they've had the highest grossing tour of their career, because there's clearly still a hunger for that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. So, I mean, in addition to being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the first alternative band to be inducted, are they touring with the same core group, or what are their tours like now?
It's a 6-piece group at the moment, which is as big as they've ever been. Everybody who's in The Cure now has been in The Cure at some point in the past. There's a sort of shifting membership.
Yeah.
And the fact that it is a big membership right now does lead me to think surely there must be a new album on the way. Robert has said that he wouldn't tour without a new album, and he's even given us the name, Songs of a Lost World. They played a lot of songs from it. So it does seem that they are gearing up, finally, after many years, for the elusive 14th Cure album.
Were they the kind of band to get in trouble on the road? I read a story about getting thrown off of one tour.
Yeah, I don't know what I can say at this time of the morning, but there was an incident. Yeah, there was an incident when they were thrown off a Generation X tour, Generation X, the punk band, for an incident involving one of The Cure and Generation X's lead singer, Billy Idol, with whom I'm sure you're all familiar.
Yeah.
Basically, their tours were pretty chaotic, and you can join the dots yourselves to imagine what factors may have fed into that. But they would end up having fistfights amongst themselves on stage and after shows, and that's one reason why the sort of timeline of the band's membership is so chaotic. People leaving, people being kicked out, people rejoining. All of which makes for a very dramatic story for someone like me, who's trying to write a book about it. So that's fun.
Well, it's fascinating. The book is Curepedia, the A to Z of The Cure. For more, you can check out Simon Price on Instagram and X. Thanks so much, Simon.
Thanks, Simon.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.